everyone. This is Remelays from 40k Theories, and welcome to this new episode of Adeptus Podcastus. And joining me after a very long absence, Tactica Imperialis.
Hello everyone, sorry I was away. Yes, I was, work plus floods plus dramas equals couldn't do podcast. So please do accept my apologies for my absence, and thank you to everyone who has done a stellar job of covering for the fact that I wasn't here. So I very much was gutted to miss both the episodes, because you got Kirioth, who is a pleasure to talk to always, and a Black Library author, and I missed them both. So I am very annoyed, but it is the way of the world and there's nothing I can do about it. Oh well.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yes, indeed.
Also, I want to preface this episode by saying I apologise if my voice goes a bit weird during this episode.
Yeah, it's doing it now.
Is it? Oh, fuck. I've been very ill, very, very ill this last week or so. So if my voice does, go manky or whatever, I apologise preemptively. But let's just jump straight into the news, and possibly the biggest piece of news. The new Warhammer website. It's fucking atrocious.
Yeah, so to be honest, I completely see what GW is doing. Because, sorry, I don't think I should even bother calling them GW anymore. Because if you're a hobbyist and you want to start anything, you've got the Games Workshop, I need to talk in the past tense now. You had the Games Workshop website, which had all your rules, most of your models, all your paints, etc. Except some models were still on Forge World. And if you wanted to play Heresy, you had to go to two different websites, one for the character series and Titans and stuff, and the other for the base game miniatures. So I understand the idea of fusing them together. And they've also brought the Black Library website in, which, one, will mean more regular updates for Black Library, and two...
it's funny you should say that, because Black Library is still a standalone website.
Okay, fair enough. But they have said they are merging in Black Library's functionality into this new Warhammer.com website. So the idea being that there is one web store, one place you go to get everything. In principle, this is a good idea. And I want to preface everything...
On paper, it's a good idea, yes.
Yeah, everything we're about to say, because I know exactly the level of unholy this rant is about to be, even though I haven't talked to Rem about it at all, I already know it's going to be unholy, is simply the principle is sound. The concept is sound. The execution puts Imperial bureaucracy to shame. I was going to say puts Imperial bureaucracy to shame, but that'll do. Yeah,
I mean, considering it's already pissed off a lot of people, and quite frankly, rightfully so, in regards of the fact that, hey, did you place an order on the web store from the 20th of October onwards? It's not in your order history. Do you have a voucher balance? You don't anymore. Did you have a wish list? You don't anymore. And it's like, that's
I hadn't actually seen that.
Good.
I hadn't seen that. That's really poor.
Yeah. In fairness, though, the social media teams have turned around and said that apparently they are going to be re-adding them things to your accounts in the following days.
But
at the time of recording, mine hasn't been updated yet. So, yay, that was my order of End of Death Part 2 gone.
I think the thing that's really annoying is they made a huge deal. I remember reading the article on Halloween, because that was when the Warhammer website launched. Was Halloween
on my birthday.
God, no wonder you like Night Lords. Anyway, but the point being that it's does it say actually merging in Black Library? Or did I misread that? Sorry, I might have misread that about Black Library. Yeah, I did. Oh, no, it says Black Library books will be available there. Sorry. I think, all physical
books are also available on the web store anyway. So.
All physical products are on one place. You can still go to Black Library for your ebooks. Right, I understand now. I misread that. Anyway, as I was saying, they hyped this. They made a big article, big launch features. They made sure that everybody knew about it. And yet, somehow... They
cocked it up.
They've managed to launch it in a completely not fit for purpose state. That's really poor. I understand if they were a company that didn't really have a web store up to now, launching a web store for the first time and it was a bit janky, I could excuse that. But this is two very well established that run relatively safely and apart from during mass pre-order period, kind of like clockwork web stores. So they know how to make a website. They know how to make a web store. And somehow they've managed to release it in this state, which is...
It's weird because, there's... they've adorned of all this new artwork, but the artwork is simultaneously very big, but also leaves a lot of dead space. And it's just, as a UI, as a user interface, it's very user-unfriendly. Trying to look for anything, it's more difficult than it has any need to be.
Yeah, to me, I've just gone on there on the computer rather than on phone, because I know mobile functionality can always be a bit jankier. So I've given it the time of day, and if I go shop and I go 40k, and I can shop by faction, I can go Xenos, I can go Tau, and to be fair, if you know where you're going, the filtering system works fine, and they've flagged that the Yavara, for example, the Forge World Resin Battlesuit, is an expert kit that's probably is a 15 plus because it's going to take a bit more skill to work on. You know what? I can respect that. But there's 52 products and they've listed the Tide Wall is online only, so you can't buy it in store. You've got to buy it here. Get that. Respect that. It's just it's just fine. But there's no colour. It is very, very generic. Literally, it's just a white screen with a bunch of images on it. If I think about the old web store, it's just...
It seems very much like someone just took, they bought themselves, a website design software and just went, template 1, that's it.
I know what you mean.
It's just... it's ugly as sin. It's ugly as sin. It's more awkward than it needs to be to look around for shit. And it's just...
To be fair, I think as a web store, as purely a place you go to buy shit, I think it's actually fine. It's functional. It's a functional one. It's a downgrade.
It's functional.
Yeah. The problem is it's a downgrade in terms of the functionality of the old one, because let's just do that same thing again. Let's go Armies of Chaos Space Marines. On the old, and I can go filters, I can only filter to online only, cards, plastic, resin, Forge World. 15 plus resin, I should say. I cannot filter by vehicle. I cannot filter by HQ or leader or keyword. I can't filter by Legion, for example, if I wanted World Eaters. I appreciate that I think World Eaters are their own tab, but that's not the point. In terms of the actual filtering system, yeah, actually, Death Guard Thousands and World Eaters are all separate, but that's not the point. If I go into demons, I cannot filter by god. If I want to find a Great Unclean One, I've got to troll through all the Slanesh and Nurgle and Khorne and Tzeentch stuff to find my Great Unclean One, just as an example. And that's a downgrade in functionality compared to where it was. And the same if I go into Age of Sigmar, and I go Order, and I go Lumineth Realm Lords, and I go Filters. The filters are basically useless, because the only thing that's actually a filter is the online-only section. Because, there's 26 units in the whole set, and 25 of them are plastic, and one's a book. So the filtering system literally only lets me filter online only. I can't filter for heroes, I can't filter for spells, I can't filter for monsters. All the things that you might actually want to filter for, if you're just wanting to see, what options are available, you've got to trawl through the whole army range, which for Sigmar takes 2 seconds, but for Space Marines takes an hour.
Yeah. I mean, I think it should be worth saying that, as the weeks go on, they'll probably improve this, we can hope, at the very least. And I'm sure they will improve it and make things a bit more streamlined down the line. But in its current state, it's come on, guys, you're a multi-million-dollar company. You can do better.
Yeah. I know all the back end functionality will be a lot better than it used to be, but the front end, the front of house stuff is so generic and boring. And can we just point out, like, if I open the website, what's the first thing that comes up on my screen? 2 generic blokes in grey jumpers and sweatpants stood over a table at a Games Workshop store that's otherwise empty. Like, that's the first thing that comes up on my screen. Granted, it then smash cuts to a video montage of animations and cosplay and gameplay and tournaments. But the first thing that pops up is generic person stood at a gaming table playing on their own.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just... it doesn't feel like it's been set up very well at all.
No. And
Like,
also, while you were talking, I also went into my account just to check, see if the orders after the 20th of October have been processed yet. So, nope, they're still missing from the order history.
Not good.
No, it's not good. I can't remember who said. I remember seeing someone on Twitter saying that in its current state, they don't trust ordering from the site in its current state because it seems so janky at the moment.
I can't blame them, to be honest. I'm not buying stuff at the minute. If I do, I'll go to a local, like, friendly local gaming store in my town, but I wouldn't trust it. And do you know what the worst part is? That GW have just put as their new releases. Let's just run down the current set of new releases. The Cities of Sigmar launch of the full range has gone up this week, as has Iona's Cryptborn and the Belthanos guy, the Age of Sigmar characters. Fulgrim's just gone up. Demon Fulgrim has just gone up. And they've just announced new battle forces for the Christmas run. So they're fully expecting it to be ready to go to do all of this shit. And it just...
But it's not.
It just isn't.
I mean, when you compare the Games Workshop website now to, like... let's compare it to another company. Let's compare it to Mantic, who do, like, Dead Zone, Kings of War, Hellboy, that kind of thing. And it's night and day. Like, the Mantic one, independent company, independent game company, and their website, their store is so much nicer to navigate. It's nice and simple, and it's still eye-catching enough. No wasted space.
And the main thing is, and I think this is something the GW Workshop needs to fix, is the first thing you see if you go on the Mantic website is all the games are listed across the top.
Yeah.
Like, I appreciate you want a big flashy banner, but the first thing your customer needs to be able to do is identify what they want. And for me, having to scroll, like, for a good 5 seconds to past the big intro PowerPoint and what's new, what's available to buy that's new, to finally land on choose your setting.
Yeah, you're literally about a third of the way down the page.
Yeah.
If you're just scrolling down.
And it was something, and it's something that the GW old one used to do really well, was the first thing you did, it's very much like the Mantic one is now, where the first thing you go, you get in, logo in the corner, wish list in the top right, and across the top, pick your game system. And underneath, then you could go, here's your new releases. That's fine. But it seems like they've gone big flashy banner first, and then thought, oh shit, what needs to go underneath? New stuff. New stuff should go first. Except some people aren't really looking for the new stuff. You should have one half for new stuff, and then your navigator, like, instead of having it new releases, shop new releases, and choose your setting, it should be split that in half. So the left-hand side is, here's what's new. 2 little pop-ups or 1 little pop-up. Don't put the shop there. Let them click in. They don't need to see the whole list of things you can buy off the front page. And then the other side is, choose your setting. 4 buttons. Middle-earth, AOS, Heresy, 40k. Boom, 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 boom. So that literally you come in, you see the big banner, you scroll down for 2 seconds, you can see what's new, you see what systems you've got, and you know where you're going immediately. That would be so much smoother than anything else. And using the Mantic as an example, they've got that really nice. You've got your game selection across the top, latest news, featured products, explore the games, and yes, they've got a scrolling banner across the top, but you can still navigate anything you need to immediately. And then you scroll down and it's news, because they don't have a separate website like Warhammer Community, and then they've got a game explorer in more detail. And then they get to some featured products. It's just so much easier. and so much smoother to navigate if you already know what you want. And if you don't know what you want, then there are some features and news articles there to guide you with some pictures and all of that. But if you know what you want, which most GW customers do when they go on that web store, they're going with a purpose. They need to be able to find it in 2 seconds. They need to be able to navigate to it in 2 seconds. And they feel like you spend more time navigating to find the thing you want than you used to.
Agreed.
Like, genuinely, Element Games has a more segmented, navigable store. Like, I'm going to get theirs up a second because they're a third party that sell a lot of products. They're Kyrioth's sponsor. And if I should show you their website, Ramlays, I'll just get this and I'll link it to you. And
by that same token, I'll also send you one for Goblin Gaming as well.
Yeah, like Element Games, you've got number, account, Games Workshop, other games, paints, board games, offers, scroll down, here's the new stuff, all the new stuff, and that's fine. But again, the first thing you see when you get on that website is a navigator. And if I go Games Workshop and I hover over Games Workshop, you know what? I can see every single army in one go. If I want to get to the Tau army in the Games Workshop Warhammer website, I have to click Shop, 40k, Xenos, Tau. That's 4 menus. On the Element Games, it's a hover over and it's right there. I could genuinely find any unit I wanted for my Tau army and then filter it faster on Element Games' website than I could on GW's. If you had a race between a third-party website and Games Workshop itself, you will get it faster and more precisely on the third party. That's a f***ing problem.
Yeah.
That's a f***ing problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, same thing with this Goblin Gaming one. You've got the games across the top. It's dead obvious what they sell. You can hover over, go filter by game. I'm going to do the same thing again. Games Workshop, Warhammer 40,000. Price filter, factions. It's all on a tick box, Tau. There we go. Sub-factions, type, brand, game, finish. Okay, admittedly, this is a bit harder to navigate. I'll give you. The filtering isn't quite as good. In fact, there is no filtering, but it's
still better than Games Workshop at the moment.
Yeah, and it's also got a hide out of stock button. Games Workshop doesn't have that. They just hide out of stock down at the bottom.
So it's 1 point for Goblin Gaming.
Yeah, I appreciate we've spent 15 minutes going on about the new Warhammer.com website, and I know people hate it when we bang on and bash Games Workshop, but we never do it from a perspective of, oh, we hate Games Workshop. We're coming at this from, this is the product they used to have, this is the product they have now, and how it is dramatically inferior to the product they literally already had. Why did you do this? What you could have literally done is taken the Forge World website and made it a button on the GamesWorkshop.com web store, and it would have been more functional navigation than it would have been doing this.
Yeah.
And that's a fucking problem. So that's why we're having a bit of a whinge. And we're not the first. Like, every single person we know.
We're having a whinge because we know GW can do better.
Exactly.
They can.
Exactly.
We know they can do better. And let's turn and say, like, hey, you know, kind of get your shit together kind of thing, you know?
Yeah. If you're supposed to be the industry leader, then why can third-party second-hand sites outdo you on websites? Like, they have as much product as you most of the time, and cheaper than you because they get it at bulk prices and pass that saving on, and yet their website is also better than yours. That's a problem. That's a problem.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's nothing more we can say about it because, to be honest, people have made literally hour-long rant videos about it, I think, at this point, so...
Was that Kyrioth?
I don't think Kyrioth was an hour, but there's people who've made very long, very annoyed videos about it, so I'm going to stop talking, I think.
Basically, to quote the critic, it stinks. So moving on. Finally.
Moving on. Yes. So, Battle Forces.
Yes.
So, one of the things they tied in to start off the season was, you know, these are the new Battle Forces for Christmas. There are 6 40k and 4 AOS. I still don't think that's fair, but I'm picking my battles today. I'm picking my battles today about which is the right thing to do, whether you should have the same amount for 40k and AOS. I'm going to pick my battles and I'm going to stop going on about it. But what they've done, the 640k ones, there is Votann, which is terrible because it's 10 Hearthguard, Champion, Land Fortress, Grimnir, Sagittor. Like, it's literally one unit, 2 heroes, a fast attack, and a heavy transport. That's it.
I've seen worse.
But, yes, but compare it to what comes next. Orcs. 10 Beast Snagger Boys, 3 Squig Hogs, Beast Boss on Squigosaur, and a Kill Rig.
Mm-hmm.
Cadia gets 2 Rogel Dawns, 20 Cadian Shock Troops, and a Command Squad.
That's 2 Rogel Dawn tanks, not 2 Primarchs, by the way.
Yeah. Space Marines get Captain with Jump Pack, 15 as Jump Pack Intercessors, 3 Outriders, and an Invader ATV. So they're all roughly okay so far. Similar-ish. Like, you've got either a heavy thing or some fast stuff, a hero, and a squad or 2. You know, fine. Then you get to Tyranids, who get Norn Emissary, Flyrant, 20 Hormagaunts, 10 Gene Stealers, and Ripper Swarms.
Yep.
And World Eaters, who get 10 Khorne Berserkers, 6 Exalted 8-Pound, and Angron. Angron. Like, it just... You look at, like, oh, what have the Votann got? They've got 2 sub-heroes, a heavy tank, 10 basic infantry, and a fast attack. What have World Eaters got? 10 heavy infantry, 6 super heavy elites, and a fucking demon Primarch.
It is kind of funny.
Like, for what? And the Tyranids are not much better, because they've got 30 infantry and 2 monstrous creatures, one of which could be the Swarm Lord, and you've got 2 different options for the Norn Emissary as well. So, again, like, and then Guard have got, oh yeah, I hope you like Rogel Dawns, because we put 2 Rogel Dawns in the box, and then just 20 Guardsmen. I don't know. I just don't think all of them are very well balanced with each other. They're good boxes, and I think they're good starting points for armies, no whatever you're doing. They're good picks. All of them are good picks, but they're not balanced with each other at all, because Angron exists.
Yeah.
On the AOS side, it's a bit different. So, no Stormcast, which is a nice change of pace. And, no, not one for each Grand Alliance. Destruction gets shafted again. Never mind.
And Death get 2.
So, Seraphon get a Slann, 10 Chameleon Skinks, 10 Saurus, 3 Croxigor, and 3 of the heavy Saurus cavalry.
And 3 pterodactyls.
Oh, and 3 pterodactyls. Yeah, I missed those. Sorry. So, yeah, loads there. The Ossiarch get an Archcavalos, 5 Death Riders, 20 Mortek Guard, 4 Morghast, and a Gothizar Harvester, which is like a full army in and of itself. Like, that's a really solid army in and of itself. Slaves to Darkness get Eternus, the not Stormcast, 3 Ogroids, 5 Chaos Knights, 5 Chosen, and 10 Chaos Warriors. Like, literally, I would buy that and call that my Slaves to Darkness army in a heartbeat. Thank you very much, I'm done. And the Vengorian Court, who get Laukavai, or a Vengorian Lord, 10 Direwolves, 20 Skeletons, 3 Fellbats, and 5 Blood Knights. Those are really good armies, like, ready-to-go armies. All of them, to be fair. Like, even the Seraphon one, you've got a really powerful magic user, 2 squads of infantry, including a ranged unit, heavy infantry, heavy cavalry, and fast cavalry. That's really good! So yeah, the AOS boxes are excellent. It's just a shame that Destruction don't get one. Again. Because this has been a perfect time to put the new Iron Jaws stuff that they've put, like, you know, the massive attack pig and all the other things.
I'll be honest, I completely forgot the Iron Jaws got new models.
Well, they got the attack pig and the Anvil Squig guy and...
Clump.
That's the one. And new Ard Boys and stuff like that. That would have been a really nice place to put it all together, considering they've just been released. I thought that would have been a nice little tie-up, but oh well. So yeah, the AOS boxes are really good. I just wish Destruction got one. The 40k boxes are good starting points, except for World Eaters and Tyranids, when they're pretty much armies that are ready to go in and of themselves. The Orc one is only got 1 troop. The Space Marine one has got no heavy punch whatsoever. I don't know if it doesn't matter about troops anymore, but it's just I don't know. I think the 40k boxes are not as good as the AOS ones. But they're not bad. Right, what else have we got?
Obviously, Fulgrim Transfigured is released on pre-order, as we mentioned earlier.
Indeed. Good luck getting it.
Funny enough, they actually did give us a preview for some of the rules for Warhammer The Old World.
Oh, yeah, they did. Old World rules. The Old World Almanac. So,
I'm pretty sure it's not how you spell almanac, but hey.
They have misspelled almanac. So, firstly, Old World is out early next year. That's worth stressing.
Definitely.
So, within the next 6 months, Old World will be out. Whoop, whoop. And what's interesting is they got rid of the magic phase.
Oh.
So, they've AOS'd it. By which I mean, you've got the strategy phase, which has got...
Ooh.
So in the strategy phase, you've got certain hero abilities, enchantments, hex spells, and rallying. All of that sort of thing. Movement phase, which includes charges. So charges are still in the movement phase. They've kept that. Compulsory movement and conveyance spells. So think Van Hels's Dance Macabre. The shooting phase, which has got guns, war machines, and magic missiles and vortex spells. And then the combat phase, which is hand-to-hand melee and assailment spells. And then you've got morale is tied up in there as well. So...
Also, before we get to, I want to apologise if anyone can hear some weird noises coming from my end. Some idiot outside setting off a bunch of fireworks, and I don't know why.
Well, we've had fireworks around here as well, so I haven't heard any while I've been recording, but if you have, then fair enough.
Yeah, because Bonfire Night's not for another 2 days, but anyway.
No. But yeah, so basically, actually, it's a lot less AOS-y. It's a bit more 40k, actually. Because what they've done is they've delineated the magic phase from this is when you do your magic to you do the magic at the most appropriate time for it to be done. I.e., you use magic missiles in the shooting phase. You use movement spells in the movement phase. You use buff and debuff spells in the strategy phase. So it's sounded like 40k where they've split it up and divvied it so that you use certain things at different times. Hopefully it isn't just like 40k, because 40k doesn't have the psychic test anymore. It's gone. So they need to bring that back, if I'm honest, because psychic powers are completely risk-free at the moment, unless they've got the hazardous rule, but anyway. But yeah, it's interesting. So the strategy phase has got stupidity tests, fanatics, victory conditions, and then command, where you've got character special rules. So, for example, using enchanted objects, casting buffs and debuff spells. So, hexes and enchantments, which comes after command. So the way it goes is you do start of turn abilities, things like stupidity tests. Then you do command abilities and magical items. Then you do buff and debuff spells. In that order.
Fair enough.
And then you do rally. So you rally your troops in this turn, in this phase, and it's basically the ye olde leadership test. So standard. Yeah. Oh, and you need a double 1 to pass a morale check when you get to 25% strength. Ouch.
Oof.
But yes, so there's plenty still to come about what's going on in Old World, and by all means, this is not the end of everything, but I think what people have been really interested to know a long time now is how much like old fantasy is Old World actually going to be? And how much is it going to take inspiration from AOS 40k and Heresy? Because, those games have been out for a while and have been very successful in their current iterations. Meaning, I think they've actually struck quite a nice balance, because we can all agree as fantasy players, the magic phrase was broken as shit.
Especially during 5th edition.
Not even just during 5th edition, like always. It's always been broken as shit.
I'm still having flashbacks, about Gaze and the Gash.
Yeah.
That was like one of the most broken spells in the entire fucking game.
Occam's Mind Razor.
And I can't remember in editions after that, but I remember in 5th edition, if you played undead or vampire counts, because they're introduced at the very end of that edition, And like, anyone using necromantic spells, you just pick what spells you had. You didn't get them randomly. You picked what ones you wanted. So you're always guaranteed to have someone having Van Hal's Dance Macabre, Raise Dead, and Gaze in the Gash. And it's like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, I forget how it went, but I know I used to play a Shadow Mage quite a lot because Occam's Mind Razor made you use your leadership instead of your strength. Which, when you played Elves, who were Strength 3, Leadership 8...
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I think it feels like fantasy in that, you've got magical items, you do charge in the movement phase, you've got missile weapons, combat phase, morale checks, fleeing, units in ranks. The biggest change that I can see so far is how magic works, in that magic is delineated across the turn. Now, I'm not opposed to that because it kind of, as a high elf player, the magic phase for me felt like this is the point where you win the game button. Whereas I'd like to think in this edition, because it's just tied into the rest of the turn, that I can't just hoard up my magic dice and do bullshit. I can't do that. I can't hoard up and do bullshit because magic dice won't probably be a thing. There'll be a lot more like the spells of AOS where you roll 2d6 to cast for each one. So it will be interesting, and I look forward to giving it a look over. I don't know if I'll actually pick up and play it because I haven't really... Actually, no, I've got my Dark Elves. My Dark Elves could probably play it, but I don't know if they're going to have rules at the start of the new edition, so who knows?
Fair enough. Going back to 40k, new Necron Overlord.
Yes, this was surprising. Because obviously you got to talk about Imhotep the Stormlord the other time. He looks fine.
He looks frail as fuck compared to his old incarnation.
Well, if you want frail, how about this guy who literally only half exists because he's phasing into reality? Like, who the hell came up with this idea?
Well, it's a new piece of war gear, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Translocation
Shroud. Yeah.
Oh yeah, but like designing a model to be phasing into reality is a really ballsy thing to do.
Yeah, I just kind of wish they didn't have to put him on a tactical rock.
That would be nice. But it is also the oldest rumour engine because it was first teased in November 2021. So it's nearly been 2 years since this thing got teased. And finally it's here.
Makes you wonder what was the delay in showing it.
They didn't put a Necron Codex out, I guess. Because it was just after 9th had come out. So they weren't either going to put it in the 9th issue Necron Codex and it wasn't ready. Or, I don't know. I don't know. But yes.
Fair enough.
It's an interesting concept in design. And I think clearly whoever designed the Light of Eltharion has been having a hand in this. Because obviously that model's the hollow armour with all those bits. And I love that model. I do really love that Light of Eltharion. It's such a cool mini.
Did you see the version of that someone did? They actually put actual LED lights in the armor.
No, that sounds cool.
Yeah, like so it's like the entire suit of armor. Like you press a little button, and it's like actually glowing with like pale blue light.
Okay, that's cool. I'll
try and find it when I can find it.
Yeah, but anyway, so this piece of equipment basically means you auto run 6 inches, and you can ignore terrain. So it's not actually as powerful as you might think, because yes, it gives you a 12-inch move with a Necron unit, but it's not like a teleporter, which I think is what it seems to suggest in the idea of like foe inexplicably appears behind their ranks. It's just ignore terrain, like it's, oh my god, that's so cool. It's ignore terrain, which is a clever idea. So I think it will definitely see a bit of play in Necrons, but I don't know, because obviously we haven't seen the Necron Codex, how viable it's going to be, because it doesn't have the speed or the ability to shock teleport that you might be expecting it to have. So still, cool concept and cool miniature. But yeah, sub-assemblies for days. Good luck painting it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, Remley sent me a picture of that Light of Eltharion with the LED lights on the inside. It's the coolest thing since sliced bread.
And speaking of green things, considering that the new Necron is green with green pixels, they're going to be releasing a special edition of Brutal Cunning, and looking at it, my first reaction was, my eyes, the goggles do nothing. That is a very bright shade of green.
It's extremely bright green. Which, it's orcs, but jeez.
It's... I believe the actual term is neon.
Yeah, pretty much it's neon green. About right.
Yeah, I just... Why? Why make it look like that bright neon? I'll be honest, I'm just glad it's not another fucking fabric cover. Because I hate fabric covers on limited edition books. They're so fucking horrible. But it seems very... Like, the design seems very lazy.
I kind of get what you're saying. I do. I kind of get what you're saying.
Yeah. I mean, considering that we've had... Like, this year we've actually had some genuinely really good looking limited editions. Like Genefather, the Caiaphas Cain one that came...
Have you read that yet, Genefather?
I have.
Good.
Talking about it later.
Good.
And then you get this, which is...
Not.
Yeah. Key lime pie smoothie.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like looking through the news stuff, obviously we spent a lot of time talking about Warhammer.com, and I appreciate that. But we're kind of already out of stuff to discuss because, there's a Legions Imperialis Stormhammer and Land Raiders and drop pods. Like, okay, great, but aside from the actual battle forces, there hasn't been a lot going on this past fortnight, which is really annoying for me because, I come back after 6 weeks away and I go away for 6 weeks. I come back and all of a sudden, Jesus, look at all the stuff I missed. I missed bloody bunch of stuff for Necromunda, all the Britannia stuff from Warhammer Day. I missed new kill teams. I missed the new Sylvaneth character, Iona's Cryptborn, the bloody stilted Mechanicus Skitari, which is the coolest thing ever, by the way.
So no, you mentioned Britannia. It's a good thing you did mention that
because
they dropped a teaser trailer for Flesh Eater Courts. It looks like you're invited to this feast, and they keep every now and again it keeps flashing to instead of a feast of food, it's corpse remains and stuff like that.
Oh, I didn't. Oh, I assumed that was just a Halloween piss take. I didn't actually. Hold on. Sorry, I'm just going to mute that while I give this a watch. Because
obviously the Flesh Eater Courts believe they're knights and stuff like that, don't they?
Yeah, sorry, I'm just watching it now. Oh yeah, I see what you're saying.
It's a blatant teaser trailer for a new Flesh Eater Court stuff.
Yeah, there's spines and broken and rot and that's Flesh Eater Courts, all right. That's absolutely Flesh Eater Courts. Which is actually tied into Dawnbringers 4, because we actually know that, remember, the Flesh Eater Courts got a hero as part of the Dawnbringers Herald's thingy with the Magakin Lord and all that. They did get a hero in there. So I'm not actually surprised. That's really good. I hope it doesn't mean a new battle tome, because, we're about to get AOS 4 next year, and I think a Flesh Eater Courts battle tome now would just be a little bit of taking the piss.
Maybe they're teasing it in preparation for AOS 4, so that'd be one of the first battle tomes that comes out for it.
Death have already had a run, though. It's annoying because AOS 1 was all about Order versus Chaos, so Stormcast versus the Blades of Khorne, and then against the Magakin of Nurgle. And the Sylvaneth came in, and the Seraphon came in, and the Elves turned up at the end. AOS 2 was
AOS 2 was about death.
Yeah, it was the Necroquake, and you saw the update.
And stuff like that, yeah.
Particularly Nighthaunt was the big launch faction, and then Soulblight came later. Flesh Eater Courts already existed but got an update, etc. AOS 3 is all about destruction. You've got the Dawnbringer Crusades and the Cruel Boys coming front and centre, because Kragnos showed up towards the end of AOS 2. You've got the Cruel Boys, and now the Iron Jaws just had a big update as well. AOS 4, therefore, is going in two different directions. Option 1, we go back to Chaos, meaning Chaos gets a big boost, which would be kind of cool. Option 2, Order Civil War, which would also be really kind of cool because Marathi's right there, Marillion's right there. I think there's a place that you could do an Order Civil War between the forces of particularly Shadow and everybody else. I think it could be done. So, I don't know. I think Flesh Eater Courts would be a good thing to do. They definitely do need more stuff because they've actually not had any new units in the entirety of Age of Sigmar's history. Literally,
aside from the endless spells.
Not a unit. Literally, they've not been given a single unit.
I'm just saying that as probably the closest thing to a new unit
they've had heroes. Like, they've had the Abhorrent Arc Regent, who is broken as sinners when he came out, but they've never had an actual unit, and I really think that's something they need to fix. Like,
so maybe it's like teasing a range refresh.
That would be nice. I think it would be good to give Flesh Eater Courts a real boost, because they've done that with Fire Slayers just recently. They've given Fire Slayers a new hero and the Volcatrix Warcry warband. You know, the ones I mean with the Magradroth cloaks and all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they've done that for Fire Slayers, giving them a new unit, a new hero, and I think it would now be a really nice time to introduce a named character for the Flesh Eater Courts, because they don't have one. And also give them a new unit. I'm thinking, well, they already have cavalry in the form of Vargheists, but something like that, like something that sort of sits between the men-at-arms, which is what the ghouls represent, and the noble Pegasus Knights and like the elites, which is what the Vargheists and the Crypt Horrors represent. Sort of like, you know how they've done for Britannia, the man-at-arm, the Knights of Britannia realm on foot, like a heavy infantry unit. Something like that would be really cool, where you've got these ghouls who, yes, are completely delusional, but also do actually understand the concept of armor or shield walls, or, you know, they've retained enough of their sanity that they can fight cohesively, and they have shields, or they have spears, or they have ranged weapons, or something. I don't know. I don't care. But a nice, chunky, heavy infantry unit to complement the Crypt Ghouls, who become your sort of fast skirmisher basic troops, that you've got this really nice anchor unit to hold the line that could hold up against, maybe not Stormcast, but definitely Chaos Warriors or Seraphon Saurus or something like that.
Mm.
But we'll see. It'll probably just be another hero, because it always is.
And the Red Gobbo is also getting a new miniature for Christmas.
Again. Change the fucking record. Like, I've got nothing against the Red Gobbo, but, like, it was years...
I'll be honest, I have no issue with it being a quote-unquote Christmas tradition, him getting a new model every year. Like,
well,
as long as it is different.
It was Grom Brindral until not that long ago.
Mm.
So, you know, shrug. I'm not going to do anything in particular with it.
It's like we've had the Red Gobbo. When are we going to get a new model for the Black Gobbo, though? Because I think the last time we had a model was for Blood Bowl, with him and Grom Brindle having a 2-pack.
God, that's going back.
Yeah. Considering that was like a throwback to an issue of White Dwarf, of all fucking things, during 5th edition. 5th edition Fantasy, I should say.
But yeah, I know what you mean.
Black Gobbo. Because he took... That was actually a really good issue of White Dwarf. Like, oh, the Black Gobbo's taken over White Dwarf, so it's not White Dwarf, it's now Black Gobbo magazine.
Yes, I do feel like I really missed how little there is in the news cycle this week, that I missed out on all the Necrons, Mechanicus, Ionis Cryptborn, Belthanos, Striking Scorpions redone, all the Britannias.
Still waiting on Womp Spiders.
I know. But I feel like I missed a load last time out, and I'm a little bit annoyed. But
well, you've missed about 4 weeks worth at least, so yeah.
6.
Oh, 6, whatever. My point still stands.
Yeah. It's annoying, but nothing I can do about it.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Never mind.
I think we pretty much covered the news. I mean, there's a new Ven Denst novel coming that Richard Strachan's writing. Stormbringer magazine's going to America. There's some tickets on sale for Warhammer events, which you probably have to buy through warhammer.com, so don't bother. That's about it, really. If I'm completely honest, that's about it.
Fair enough.
Right.
Well, in which case, in your time away, have you managed to read anything?
2, actually.
You? 2? Or who?
2.
Oh, if we said who.
So, I managed to finish reading God Eater's Son.
Uh-huh.
And I also read King of the Spoil, the Warhammer crime novel.
Oh.
I have started God Eater's Son, I think, in a previous episode, because I think it's the time when you disconnected. So, when I was talking to Fresh, I think. So, I'll finish that off, but I'll also have to, refresh you on context. So,
yeah.
Context. We're in Akshi. Realm of Fire. We are with a brother and sister, Vari and Heldenar Fall is his full name, and they eke out a meager existence. They are Axian by legacy. They're not like Azerites who've reclaimed. They're not the reclaimed. They are like native Axians whose descendants survived the realm, the war, the Age of Chaos, etc., etc., etc. And they come across a Sigmarite priestess. And by the laws of their people, they have to offer hospitality. They take her back to a temple, but they get captured by beastmen, and the sister dies because her soul is sucked into the Orb Infernia. The Orb Infernia, by the way, is a very well-known thing in Aqshy. It's like a demon moon of corn kind of thing that hovers around in Aqshy.
Fair enough.
So there's your context, and the story is entirely told from the perspective of Heldenar Fall, as he initially just tries to survive and then eventually ends up fighting his way out of the Beastmen camp because the Orb Infernia sparks the blood rage in people. It's a cornate moon after all. If it doesn't take your soul, it drives you mad. And they are rescued by a group of Azerites, eventually, after they butcher the Beastmen, pretty much, and are taken back to the main city, which has got several names. Its initial name, I think, is Kand Ep, but the Azerites have called it Kandip. So I'm just going to call it Kandip because it's the easier name to say. We realise that Kandip is looking to become a city of Sigmar in its own right. It's an established settlement, don't get me wrong, but it's not like a city of Sigmar. And its leader has ambitions of competing with Hammerhal, which is, you know, the main free city in Aqshy, Hammerhal Aqsha. And he also has a run-in with a Bloodbound, whose name has escaped me at this moment, and she's basically said, your skull is mine, I'm going to kill you for Khorne God Eater. Keep that in the back of your head. Hold God Eater in the back of your head, because it's not going where you think it's going. Anyway,
okay.
As we go along, Fall, who is not going to serve in the Free Guild militia, ends up striking out on his own. I think there's an ambush, they escape, and they form a warband. And this warband, Fall is adamant, we are not serving Chaos. Like, he is absolutely fuck the gods. Like, every single one of them. Because Sigmar wasn't there when his sister died, and all the gods offer is lies and treachery. Even though he's got a Bloodbound in his warband, he's like, fuck the gods. Please keep that in your head as well, because that's important. Because,
okay.
So, this warband becomes very big and very powerful, eventually, and they eventually lay siege to Kandip. They've done various atrocities, massacres, raids, and they realise they're being starved out because the Stormcast general, the Lord Imperatant, who I'm just going to call the Refuser, because that's her nickname, because she refuses to attack anyone, according to the leaders of Kandip, has been doing scorched earth. You know, they can't live off the land if we burn the land, kind of thing. So they attack Kandip, and it's all going really, 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 really well. Things are on fire, people are dying, and they make it to the Inner Sanctum, where the Lord Imperatant is waiting. Alone. Oh. Now, it turns out, and you're going to have to just trust me on this one, the Lord Imperatant is Heldenar Fall's mum.
So say that again, you cut out.
The Lord Imperatant, the Refuser, is Heldenar Fall's mother.
Oh.
She died fighting in the Age of Chaos, or against something, and her soul was taken by Sigmar. Fall didn't know this. Why would he? He wasn't there. He was a child. His dad's dead. His sister's dead. Now his mother's a Stormcast. And she's like, come on. Stop this. Sigmar will protect you. Come on. And he's like, fuck off. Fuck the gods. Fuck off. You abandoned me, mother. Where were you? Etc. You know, the standard whiny teenager thing. He's not a teenager, but he's acting like a spoiled brat. Cue Thunderstrike. And the Stormcast commit massacre on this warband. So, his mother's gone, if you stand down, you'll be safe. We'll stop this. This can just stop. No. All right, then. You've refused the carrot. Now here's the hammer. Kind of thing.
Literally.
Yeah. Oh, well, also a Star Drake.
Yeah, I'll do it as well.
That'll do it as well. So, yeah. Fall does survive, though he doesn't really know how, and is taken to another city. Its name's gone out of my head, and it really shouldn't have done. This city basically exists upside down. Like, it's underground upside down kind of thing. And
Detroit. There you go. It's called Detroit.
No, I mean literally.
Oh, right, sorry.
I mean literally upside down. Anyway, this city is where the corn worshippers live.
Right.
And they are very much like, you are God Eater's son. You are the chosen one. You will lead us and you will conquer Candip, etc., etc., etc. He's having fucking none of it. Like, he's, yeah, I'm God Eater's son, and what? Kind of thing. But he goes eventually with the Bloodbound woman to, awaken this lost army. And it's a massive army of chosen, like Khornate chosen. And he looks into a portal and he sees Khorne. Well, or he believes to be Khorne anyway. And he wants nothing to do with it. He runs away, pretty much. It's like, no. It's almost like he's looked into the face of the madness he's been trying to resist and walks away and refuses again. So, credit where he's due. He's got bloody strong willpower, this guy. But after being gone for what he perceived as 8 days, but turned out to be 8 years, he pops back up again, eventually seizes control of his old warband from under the nose of his old subordinates, and they go to parley with the Tzeentchian warband because, they want to attack Candip, but they haven't got the numbers. So they're thinking, we absorb this Tzeentchian warband, we're good. And the Azerites turn up and massacre the whole. Again. Except Fall plays it clever, because what he and his sister were mining for the Azerites back at the beginning of the book was called Brightstone. Brightstone is Realmstone, and that shit's valuable. So, he and his warband attack a Caradron ship and convince the Caradron that they've been duped and missold a good deal by the Azerites because, it's fucking Realmstone, mate. And so the Caradron are like, yeah, that's not alright, so what do you want? Get us out of here. And what do we get for it? And he does a deal with the Caradron. The Caradron escort him and a few of his warband away. So he survives, a lot don't. But they finally launch one final attack on Candip. And he's fighting his mother, again, and losing. And he slips. And what happens to him is not exactly clear. Whether it's Demon Prince, Korgorath, it's hard to tell. But Khorne gives him a massive power boost and he helps wipe the floor with the Stormcast. Because the chosen army now appears. This chosen army of warriors of souls, or whatever it was that he went on that crusade about, now appears because Khorne has given him this power. He is truly God Eater's son. I appreciate it. I know I'm missing a lot of details out here, but you got this idea of he's like, no to gods. And at the moment he needs it, he slips and takes the power and he wins. But the epilogue was what really interested me, because he's now basically a Khorne-infused monster with a massive warband at his back because they've crushed this free city. Oh dear. Ramley's just disconnected. So I'll keep telling you the story, audience. So he's now this Khorne-infused monster at the head of this massive army. They've conquered Candip, etc. Everybody's happy. And he talks to God Eater. Now, we know from much earlier in the book that the Bloodbound considers God Eater to be Khorne. But it isn't. He's then setting up his next showdown with God Eater, who is the one powerful enough to kill and replace the gods. Now, if you know your AOS lore, you'll already know exactly who I'm referring to. Archaon. So the book ends on Archaon, I am coming for you. Fade to black. It's one of them, and I don't think I've given the story enough justice by telling it this way, because I did read it a few weeks ago. I finished reading it when I was stranded a couple of weeks ago, unable to make the show. And it ends on this guy who has refused the gods for so long, even defied his own mother just to spit in Sigmar's face, takes the power from somewhere, from the power of chaos, becomes this monstrous creature, and yet has still got the force of will and force of mind to go, I do not serve Khorne. I do not serve the Chaos Gods. I am Hel'Danar Fall, and God Eater, Archaon the Ever-Chosen, I am coming for your ass. It's just an interesting place to end it, and I thoroughly recommend you give it a read if you want to explore the idea of what a slave to darkness's descent is. Because we go from a bloke who doesn't really care much for Sigmar, who loses his sister, loses everything, finds out his mother is a Stormcast, and still refuses to accept any of the gods, even though he's going down darker and darker paths and taking on darker and darker powers, to stare into a portal believed to be to the Brass Citadel itself, look Khorne in the face and flip him the bird. I appreciate you probably didn't actually see Khorne, but you know what I mean. It's a really interesting dissection of what being a slave to darkness can be, other than just mad delusion, skull for the skull throne. Because you get that in the Bloodbound character. It's very interesting. I thoroughly recommend it. Honestly, I've been meaning to read it for ages, and I'm really glad I did. And yes, I know you missed a chunk of that, Rem, and I do apologise, but I have told the viewers, so you'll watch it back in the edit.
It's fine. But yes, I managed to read through Genefather, so consider this your spoiler warning, because in that book only just came out recently.
I am hyped for this. I don't know if I should be, but I am.
Okay, you know what? I'm gonna say this off the bat. This is probably the best book Guy Haley's done in a long time.
That's high praise. That's high praise.
Well, considering that I didn't very much like his last few books, the bar was exactly high.
I've read Shadow Sword and Devastation of Baal. They were both very good.
Yeah, I read Avenging Sun and the Kurz novel.
Point taken.
Yeah, and previous Khorne novel, but that's another hint on there. So this is your spoiler warning. 3, 2, 1, blah blah blah. Right, so I'm probably going to be jumping around back and forth between characters quite a bit. I'm also going to say off the bat, it's less of a Khorne and Baal novel as it is a Khorne novel that Baal just happens to be in. So, not as much Baal as I would have liked, but, beggars can't be choosers. Anyway, we're on Khorne's ship, and he's basically been... we received a message saying that Guilliman wants to speak to him via the Khorne Inferior, blah, blah, blah. And Guilliman's basically asking him, like, hey, you promised me, this pylon technology to help, with the Secret Benediction. You promised me this years ago now. I'm still fucking waiting. Where is it?
Yep.
If you can't, meet your deadline, it's the deadline you promised. If you need more time, that's fine. Just let me know if you actually need the time and don't keep me waiting.
Yeah,
that kind of thing. So Cole's like, right, I have an idea. He's not saying this again. He's basically like, he's just received the message. So he's like, doing stuff, right, I have an idea what to do. I'm not sure how Guilliman would react. So I'm going to try and gauge his reaction by using the Guilliman Inferior.
Oh god, he's got an AI of Guilliman. That's fucking terrifying.
Yeah. He has got an AI of Guilliman, pretty much. And acts very much like him. It's like this is blah, blah, blah. This is terrible. This is bad. I would never agree to this. And then Cole's like, yeah, this area's not perfect because he actually uses the word blasphemy. The real Gillen wouldn't use that. Still got to work out the bugs, but that's neither here nor there. Also, while this is all happening, Cole has made another robotic or cybernetic clone of his best friend Frederick, the QVO, Kvo, how you want to pronounce it. This is now Kvo 89, even though Kvo 88 is still operational.
Oops.
Just operating on the other side of the Secretrix Maledictum. It's like, well, I would bring him back, but I ain't got the time, so I'm just going to create a new one. You're going to help me. And the clone's like, cool, you're a fucking horrible person for doing this. Like, that's my good friend Frederick. Always joking. It's like, no, cool, you are a fucking monster. You are a horrible person. That's my best friend, yeah.
We know Cole is a horrible person.
Yeah. Elsewhere, we cut to Fabius Bile, who's been trying to find the location of Cole and a ship, and he's on this desolate planet, surrounded by a whole bunch of beastmen, who are his main followers at the moment, along with one of his new men, a fourth or fifth generation new man called Porter, new woman, I should say, who's basically serving as his bodyguard / enforcer.
Everyone's got to have one.
Yeah, super fast, super quick, has natural, armor, like bony armor on her body and stuff like that. Can actually inject herself with chemicals to slow down time, her perception of time, rather. Very efficient killing machine. But they're waiting on this planet, and a really battered and broken webway gate opens.
Oh no.
And emerging from the webway gate are members of the Dark Mechanicum. Because one of the members of the Dark Mechanicum has basically taken it upon themselves to learn how to operate webway gates, as you do.
As you do.
And they come to a trade, basically like, right, you tell me where Cole is, and I give you this which you're after. What is this, you may wonder? Well, cool. Well, Bile has in his possession a deactivated Necron. It's like, I'll give you a deactivated Necron for you to study. You tell me where Cole is. Well, we don't know where he is exactly. Then what's the point of me being here? No. We know where he's going to be, though. We can give you that information. It's like, okay, that's good enough, I suppose. Sure, here's your Necron. Where's he going to be? He's going to be it's going to this orbital platform place in some forgotten system near the galactic core, blah, 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 because he's going to be conducting a meeting with so-and-so. We'll get to that later.
So so-and-so is a very important individual who you're just not telling me their name.
So-and-so is basically a bunch of people who I'm getting to now.
Right.
As we cut to a different scene involving a tech priest going to a Forge World to meet with the leaders of this Forge World. This one tech priest is in service to an Inquisitor. He's an Inquisitorial acolyte.
Yeah.
And the Inquisitor in question he's in service to is one that Cole actually stole from. Or more specifically,
Greyfax, is it?
No. Or more specifically, an Inquisitor that Alpha Primus, Cole's pet space marine, stole from.
This is going to be awkward.
Yeah. And it's like, right, I know you are going to be meeting up with Cole for something, because I put my feelers out. Yes. But he needs to answer for his crumbs, because, he's a fucking heretic, right?
Yes.
And the other tech priests are like, he's the prime conduit of the Omnissiah. What he does is dictated by the Omnissiah. It's like, yeah, bullshit. It's like, look, we're entertaining your presence here right now purely on the basis that you have an inquisitorial seal with you. That's fine, but you're not an actual inquisitor, so we don't actually have to deal with your shit right now, so...
Fuck off.
Yeah, but you know what? We're going to meet up with Cole for this thing. You can turn up if you want. We can't actually stop you. You're not actually invited, but we can't
stop you.
We can't stop you because you do have Inquisitorial authority to turn up. You just can't do anything, so fuck off before we get you shot. Because technically the Inquisition actually has no dominion over Mars.
No, it doesn't.
Technically speaking.
Because, the Treaty of Olympus gives Mars total autonomy from Terran affairs. It's an alliance, not a dominion.
Yeah. The Imperium and the Mechanicus are two allied empires, not one entity.
Not that anyone outside the Imperium would know it, but yes.
Yes. Meanwhile, we cut back to Cole's ship, He's playing Regicide with a Necron Cryptek. That's what he stole from the Inquisitor in question.
He stole an active fucking Cryptek.
Yes.
What the call? Have you learned nothing? Like, did you not read the Armament novel where they literally did this and nearly got stuck in a time loop? Jesus.
Yeah, he and the Cryptek are playing Regicide using Necron Scarabs as chess pieces.
The bollocks on this man. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And Cole's basically saying to the Necron, right, I would like your help with something. What? Well, we want to actually close the Secretrix Maledictum, and I know you're Cryptek and you have some experience with some, these pylon things because, you guys actually did something like this in the past with the pylon network across, the entire galaxy. What's that all about, eh? And apparently the reason why the Necron pylons were there to begin with, on Cadia to begin with, despite the fact that, the IFTO wouldn't be created till long after the Necrons went to sleep, is because of the fact that during the War in Heaven, the boundaries between the warp and the material realm was weakened to such an extreme degree that the Necrons basically forced to create the pylon network to stitch it shut. And the Secretrix Maledictum is basically the wound that's been reopened. It's not a new one, it's been reopened. It's an old scar.
Yeah,
so that's why you got the barrier pylon network across the entire galaxy.
Just for where the War in Heaven, are we referring to the Catan versus
Old Ones, yeah.
The Necrons versus Old Ones. Catan versus Old Ones. Okay, just making sure I have my context right, because I know the warp was very weak at that time because the Enslavers got in and all that. Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And the Necron's like, yeah, why would I help you? You're keeping me confined in this fucking stasis box where I can only move I can barely even move. I'm just sitting here immobilized, and you want me to help you? You are nothing more than an inferior little ape. Why the fuck would I want to help you? It's like, oh, but, we have so much to learn from each other. I got nothing to learn from you. I have 65 million years of life experience. What the fuck do you have? Good point. Well, if you change your mind, I'll let you out of stasis again. Boom. Power down.
To be honest, though, this makes a lot of sense. Like, the Necrons are the only ones who can shut the Cicatrix because they've done it before. There's no way humans can ever do it.
No.
And the Necrons are not going to do it unless they have a good reason to. And in some ways, the Cicatrix Maledictum probably slows the Tyranids down, so why would they close it?
Yeah. If one funny thing is that Cole says, I used to have very good conversations with Trace in the Infinite. It's like, yeah, but Trazen's a weirdo. He talks too much.
He does. He talks far too much.
But yeah, Cole's plan, as you probably are aware, he's trying to create his own pylon network, as it were. And he wants the Necrons help to do so because they know about the pylon technology more than he does, as much as he has lived to admit it. Elsewhere, what am I going to do? Oh, yes. Core has basically contacted a number of different Forge worlds to meet on this one orbital platform, which during the Dark Age of technology actually served as neutral ground for meetings between humanity and the ancient Eldari Empire. So that's a neat little fact.
Oh.
So they're going to meet there with representatives from 3 different Forge worlds because he's going to ask for their help. He doesn't like asking people for help as I'm smart enough to do this, but I just simply do not have the manpower. So I'm going to have to ask for your help. So he's going to meet up with these representatives from 3 different Forge worlds. One of them is from Metallica. I can't remember the other two off the top of my head. But that's where they're all going, essentially.
Okay.
Now, Bile learns this is where Cole's going, and he realizes, well, his Art Mechanicus is very big, very well armored. All I have at my back right now is a bunch of beast men. There's no way in hell I can feasibly launch any sort of assault whatsoever against Cole to try and get to him.
Correct.
I'm going to need an army. I need an army. So, with one of the Dark Mechanicum priests, he learns of the Lord Discordant. I've forgotten his name, but the guy riding the demon
Vex Machinator or something.
Something like that, yeah.
Give me a minute. I'll go look it up while you keep talking.
But yeah, learns that he's got a warband. It's like, okay. So, you have something he could want. I get a warband out of him. Okay. Yeah, we might as well try. Goes to see him. And Lord Descon's like, so you want us to fight for you? Well, let's see how you do against my demon engines. And Bile's like, oh, for fuck's sake, do we really have to play this stupid game? Fine. Like shooting a bunch of demon engines with his Cyclops Needler, which is filled with like darts packed full of the concentrated essence of a blank. Shooting demons with that. That's like, yeah, dead.
Fun.
Porter shows off her skills by killing a demon engine by herself. Bile's other major underling is a beastman called
Vex
Brutus.
Machinator.
Thank you. But yeah, a beastman named Brutus, who's not just a beastman, he's a full-blown Minotaur.
Oh, shit.
As in, like, Ogren-sized, with a giant power axe and a ripper gun.
Oh, shit. Yes, please. Can we have that in miniature, please?
Yeah. It's like, I'm just glad you remember that Minotaurs actually exist in 40k, so thank you for someone actually putting that down. Thank you.
Thank you, Guy Haley.
Yes. So yeah, Bile's troops end up, like, wiping the floor with the demon engines, and Bile's like, right, are you going to actually help now, or do I need to go and kill all of you as well? Because I may be old and frail, I may be dying of cancer or whatever, or the blight, whatever you want to call it, but I'm still one of the original Legionae Astartes. I can body each of you easily.
Just don't bother trying.
Yeah. Oh, I actually forgot a scene that happened prior to this. Basically, Bile was undergoing a bit of physiotherapy, as it were, where Porter has to, slice his skull open a bit, put some wires through his brain, that kind of thing.
As you do.
I get a whole bunch of electricity. Bzz, 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 bzz. And as he's undergoing this trauma therapy, whatever you would call it, this pain aversion therapy, I don't know what you would call it, but he's having flashbacks to when he was first inducted into Legionae Astartes and when he was taken aside to be made into an apothecary.
Oh.
Him and a bunch of other space marines from the legions, they're basically standing there in a parade formation and they're being addressed by Ezekiel Sedaine, who was a geneticist who worked on the Astartes project under the tutelage of Amar Astarte. One of the greatest geneticists in Imperial history.
Interesting.
And Sedaine's saying, like, right, we know the secrets of how to make Space Marines and how to maintain them. We're going to teach them to you, and it's going to be down to you and the future generations of apothecaries that you teach how to maintain your Legion's Gene C, blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
And as he's having this flashback, every now and again, when he sees Sedaine, he sees the image of Kor superimposed over him. Because, as we know, Belisarius Kor absorbed the memories and soul of Ezekiel Sedaine into his own body.
I knew he had a lot of old Eve Terran people knocking around in his head. I didn't really... I've forgotten her name was one of them, but yes. And
after he's finished his therapy, Bile's like, it's a bit weird that I see Kor when I saw this vision of Sedaine. Are they actually saying... Is Kor actually Sedaine? Nah, that'd be a bit weird, wouldn't it?
It is a bit weird.
It is weird.
Kor's entire lore is fucking weird.
It's a mess. It's absolutely a mess. Like, it was first established in the 7th, it was expanded upon in the 8th, it was changed with the Kor novel, and now it's something completely different. It's all over the place. It's like the Rogel Dawn of Adeptus Mechanicus lore.
It's a mess.
As in, he's Schrodinger's tech priest.
It's a mess, yeah.
It is a mess. But eventually, Kor's party arrives at the orbital platform. I've generally forgotten what it's called. Apologies for that. But he goes inside, and the entire landing platform is covered in fields and swampy marshland and flowers, and you got some knights coming and from night houses that accompany him on these Zarquester, his Art Mechanicus,
Yeah.
and they're sinking into the mud, this is a bit fucking horrible, kind of thing. But they all make their way towards
fireworks.
they all make their way to this pyramid where the meeting's going to take place. And the pyramid itself is Dark Age tech. Yeah, so some of the tech priests are like, ooh, this is a bit fancy, isn't it?
Well, it will be if it's Dark Age tech.
Yeah. And he meets up with the leaders of 3 different Forge Worlds. One of them is basically like a giant snake tech priest. One of them's literally the Gonk droid from Star Wars, pretty much. Like a fridge. And the other one's more or less a normal tech priest.
Oh, as normal as tech priests get.
As normal as tech priests get. Oh, I forgot to mention, one of the tech priests in call service on his Art Mechanicus is literally the quote-unquote... It's literally the meme of the quote-unquote big titty admit girlfriend. Because...
No, stop. Stop.
No, I'm describing this in an SFW way. Like, literally, her appearance is described as an exaggerated version of standards of human beauty.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Whatever you say, guy. Okay.
Yeah. If you know, you know. But anyway,
Moving on.
So he meets up with the leaders of these Forge Worlds, and lo and behold, it's the Inquisitor's acolyte tech priest. It's like, you're a heretic. It's like, who the fuck's this guy? It's like, oh, he's in service to an Inquisitor. We can't exactly turn him away, even though he wasn't invited. But yeah, he's just here. And he's, the tech priest starts laying all these charges at court, saying, you're a heretic, blah, 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 blah. And the Gonk droid fridge tech priest is like, yes, he's a heretic. And the other one's like, well, hang on, let's let him plead his case. You lay your charges.
Are being allowed to plead his case? Yeah, right. You don't get to plead your innocence in inquisitorial court.
Yes, but he's not a full Inquisitor. He's just an acolyte, so...
I guess.
That's why the leaders. That's why the fabricated generals are like, look, shut the fuck up. You're here as a courtesy. If you're a full Inquisitor, we might actually have to do something, but you're not. Shut the fuck up. Now you can plead your case, but Call's allowed to retaliate. Is that fair? Good. You don't get a chance to respond. Anyway, go on. So he plays his case, and then Call says, "Well, actually, I'm not a heretic, but didn't you innovate?" Technically, yes, but it's not real innovation because I'm just reinventing stuff that was already made before. So it's not innovation, I'm just reinventing old shit. Therefore, I'm not a heretic. And the other tech priests are like, yeah, that checks out.
Really? Is that the best he could fucking come up with? He's like, hey, you made new space... No, I didn't. I changed the Space Marine format. That's still new, dumbass! No,
it's like,
fucking hell.
It's like, no, the Emperor made it himself. He just didn't use it initially. But I didn't invent it. The Emperor did. So it's all good.
Oh, piss off that the Emperor made Primaris. Piss off. Piss right off. If the Emperor made Primaris and just didn't use it because it was too advanced to be needed for the Great Crusade, then why didn't he just make 1 million of it and chuck them at Horus? Oh my god. Oh, Jesus, Cole. Alright, fine. So Cole's a liar, but anyway, moving on.
Yeah, basically Cole says his bullshit arguments like, it's not innovation, it's reinventing old tech, therefore I'm not a heretic. And the other tech priests are like, yeah, checks out. The other one's like, yeah, checks out. The fridge priest is like, no, it's bullshit. It's like, yeah, but you're outnumbered 3-1, shut the fuck up.
2-1, technically, but yes.
Yeah, 2-1 in favour of Cole, so he's not a heretic, it's fine. It's bullshit, is what it is.
It is bullshit.
What else was that? Yeah. Meanwhile, as it's happening, they're getting some strange power readings on Call's ship, and Alpha Primus contacts Call's like, hey, you might want to get back on the ship. Something weird's going on. Okay, I'll come back on the ship. Oh, Frederick, you're in charge down here while I'm away. Thank you. Call goes back on a ship. And he's trying to find where these power readings are coming from. He's like, this is a bit weird. Where's it coming from? Oh, it's coming from my artifact room. I'm sure that's nothing.
Oh no, the cryptex got loose.
No. He goes in, and there's a hologram being projected. Oh, it's Fabius Bile. It's like, oh, didn't expect to see you here. It's like, hello there. I saw your work with Primaris. very amateurish, but not everyone can be as good as geneticists as me.
Bile, you sassy asshole.
It's like, oh, and you think you can do better? It's like, oh, I know I can do better. I just don't have the resources like you. It's like, oh.
The thing is, Bile's not wrong.
We stand Bile.
The thing is, Bile's completely correct. Like, if he had all the resources that Cole did, he would definitely have made better Space Marines than Cole did. Like, there's no two ways about it.
Yeah. But Bile goes and says, like, yes, but even though I could very easily make better Space Marines than you could, I don't want to make new Space Marines because Space Marines are an evolutionary dead end. What I want to do is to improve humanity because, let's face it, Cole, humanity's inundated with all these horrors from beyond the void. We got to deal with the orcs, we got to deal with the Nids, all this shit. And wouldn't it just be better just to improve humanity overall? To help, so the species can survive in the wake of all these enemies. And it's like, oh, I've seen the experiments you've made, Bile, and they're all fucking body horrors. They're all fucking Cronenbergs. It's like, as if yours are any fucking better. I've seen your Alpha Primus. Yeah, I've heard about him. Yeah. They got, the Space Marine who's made from literally every single source of gene seed at once.
Yep.
It's like, and you're telling me that my work's an abomination? Oh, for shame.
I love sassy Bile. This is brilliant.
And Bile essentially goes like, look, will you actually help me so we can actually protect humanity? Because you're the only other person who's anywhere near my fucking level and who can actually do this. So how about we actually, because I don't work for Chaos. No, fuck Chaos. I don't believe in the Chaos gods. I just work with them because they pay me.
So if you pay me more, I'll come back to serving your precious corpse.
Not quite. It's like, look, let's team up. Let's save humanity. Wouldn't that be a better thing to, instead of making Space Marines, wouldn't it be better for you to actually, be the savior of humanity itself?
We could make humanity great again.
Oh. Yeah. Make humanity great again, yes. Oh. And Cole's like, no, I don't think so. But I'm glad you kept talking. Why is that? Because we're tracking where your ship is located, and it's somewhere nearby. So we'll just shoot you out in the sky. And Bile's like, pity. And a whole bunch of the ship's systems start going offline. Turns out, the ship's being hacked, and it's not scrap code. It's actual AI code from the Dark Age of technology. It's like proper AI code, not scrap code.
Oh boy, that's not good. That's not good.
Yeah, Bile's like, do you really think I didn't prepare for this eventuality? Oh dear, oh dear. Cuts transmission. Ship systems start going haywire. Power starts going down. Ship starts turning towards the other members of the AdMech fleet. Weapons powering. I was like, yeah, don't shoot us. We're being hacked. Oh, fuck. Get those systems back online. Purge this code. Get out of it.
The Mechanicus is not built to deal with an AI hack code. Zarkazator is doomed.
As all this is happening, Bile's ship was dropped. His shuttlecraft Butcherbird swoops in. And is like, right for the taking. I mean, yes, I can't exactly take an entire Arc Mechanicus by myself, especially with just a band of beastmen in my back seat at the moment. But it's a good thing I'm not trying to take the entire ship, isn't it? Let's go. And meanwhile, while this is happening on the orbital platform, webway gate opens, and the Space Marines are attacking. Chaos Space Marines are attacking. It's like, oh fuck.
Mechanicus are dead.
But just before the Chaos Space Marines attacked, Frederick and another tech priest who has like an obsession with maps, they enter the pyramid and go deeper and deeper into its depths, try to do a bit of exploring. They're also followed by another tech priest who's got a bunch of Castellan robots. So, you go down those steps, we have to find the long way around because those steps ain't gonna fucking hold a bunch of Castellan robots.
Accurate.
A bit too big. And they go down the stairs, and they see the Gonk droid tech priest, just waddling down there, the fridge, bump, 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 bump. It's like, what's he doing down there? It's like, I don't know, maybe he's actually doing a bit of exploring, considering it's Dark Age tech, I don't blame him. Let's follow him anyway. Webway gate. It's like, oh, webway gate, bit weird. The gonk droid opens up like a fridge, and out steps one of the Dark Mechanicum tech priests from earlier.
Dun dun dun.
Literally hiding in a fucking box.
It's like he's literally Indiana Jonesed his way in.
Yeah, well, she has in this case. Yes.
Oh, she has. Sorry.
Yeah. And the tech priest ends up, well, the Dark Mechanicum priest ends up capturing Frederick and ends up hacking him, like actually using him to actually hack through some other systems and all that as well. There's like systems upon systems of data hacks and all that, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
Meanwhile, also like, so the Chaos Space Marines like, pouring through this webway gate, attacking. Meanwhile, on call ship, Bile, merges in the hangar bay. It's like, right, a bunch of Skitarii. Deal with them, would you, Brutus? And Brutus literally just smashes his way through his fucking power axe and ripper gun.
God.
And Alpha Primus, who's still on the ship, he thinks, oh shit, we just been boarded by Fabius Bile. Oh shit, he's after the Sanctimonious Portum.
That would make sense.
Goes down, like, right, I'm going to go down and stop him. Blah, 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 stompy, charge.
Good luck with that.
Yeah. Meanwhile, after Call literally just finished having his transmission with Fabius Bile, it's like, fuck, get these things out of the... Like, oh shit, power fields are down, including in this room. Oh, hello, Cryptek. The Cryptek has escaped and has repurposed two of the Scarabs to serve as a makeshift pistol. Because of course she has. And Call literally is like, yeah, I'm going to have to try and run away. Yeah, fuck, hide. Because I can't stand up against a Cryptek on my own. Shit. Am I disconnected?
No.
Okay. So I thought I disconnected again, sorry. But yeah, through shenanigans, he escapes. He manages to knock her head off by literally by channeling a portion of his consciousness into a deactivated cyborg of Quo, like one of his earlier versions, and literally just like knocks her head off.
Are we talking much. The comedy arm comes out and the butt runs face first into it and the head just goes flying off with a clothesline, or are we ripping the head off?
Yes.
Comedy clothesline. I'm sticking with comedy clothesline.
Yeah. But during this little kerfuffle, Cole ended up getting his leg damaged, but because he actually got struck by a Gorse beam, it's like, fuck.
Ow.
Right, don't worry. I'll just lie here for about half an hour while my self-repair systems go into overdrive. I can't do anything because I weigh as much as a fucking tank.
This is true, he does.
He's literally just sitting there, just going, tapping his fingers like, come on, hurry up.
Can't even just do the COD Zombies downed crawl.
No, he's too heavy. He can't pull himself. Meanwhile, Alpha Primus is just punching his way through various beastmen, and he ends up meeting with Fabius Bile himself. It's like, that you're Alpha Primus. I've heard so many stories about you. It's like, oh, you'll never get the Sanctimonious Portum. It's like, oh, is that what you think I want? I mean, it would be nice to have it. It would be nice to have it, but that's not what I'm here for.
He doesn't want the Cryptek, does he?
No. He wants Alpha Primus.
That makes sense because, he's got all the DNA as well. He doesn't need the Sanctimonious Portum if he's got Alpha Primus.
Exactly. And Bile's like, right, Brutus, and Alpha Primus and Brutus have this big punch-up. Brutus ends up getting killed eventually. He ends up having his head torn off, tossed at Bile's feet. It's like, oh, I've taken your mightiest servant's head. It's like, oh, he was mighty, but he's not my mightiest servant. She's behind you.
Yep.
And Porter and Alpha Primus have a really brutal punch-up. She's almost as strong as he is. And bear in mind, he is stronger than most Space Marines.
So she's at least as strong as a Space Marine.
Yeah. And Alpha Primus is like, oh, an actual challenge. This should be fun. But his chainsaw's destroyed. He's run out of ammo, so he's basically down to having a knife fight with her. with a combat blade and all that.
Oh dear.
He ends up getting wounded. He ends up like knocking her out temporarily, like breaking her sternum. She gets back up with a broken fucking sternum. Good on you, girl.
Jesus.
But eventually, Bile ends up shooting Alpha Primus with one of his darts. Nothing happens at first. It's like, this is doing nothing. Haha, you can't stop me. Why am I feeling so sleepy all of a sudden?
To which I would say to Bile, why didn't you just start with that?
Yeah. Well, you got to get a clean shot, haven't you?
I guess.
And then, eventually, Cole's now operational again. It's like, hooray, I can walk again. I had a mistransmission. Bile's on the ship.
Shit.
Oh, fuck. Where's Alpha Primus? He's down on deck, blah, blah, blah. Where's Bile? On the same deck. Fuck. Run. Cole makes his way down there, and as he does, he sees Bile standing over the unconscious form of Alpha Primus, and Bile's extracting his gene seed. Popping in the jar. Boop.
Thank you very much.
Meanwhile, Cole's got himself a weapon from his gallery. He had like a plasma cast or whatever it was.
Don't matter.
It's like, I'll shoot you. He's like, yes, but you won't shoot me. You know why you won't shoot me? You see that thing I've got jammed into Alpha Primus's neck? If my heart stops for any moment, your pet project here dies. But he's more than a pet to you, isn't he? Yes, he is. Because as it turns out, Alpha Primus is Cole's own son.
What?
As in he was made using Cole's own DNA.
And I thought my mum's a Stormcast story was the most fucked up family relationship I could come up with today. Jesus Christ.
My mum's a Stormcast. Well, my son is a spaceman with every single gene seed, so no. That's what it sounds and feels like.
Bloody hell, what?
Yeah. And strange enough, that's not the craziest thing to happen in this novel today. But yeah. Bile takes the gene seed, it's like, right, now I have this, maybe Abaddon will get off my fucking back. Anyway, toodaloo, Cole. I'll see you again next time.
Just to get Abby off his back. All that to get Abby off his back.
Yeah.
He doesn't actually care about making Primaris Chaos. He just wants Abby off his back. Oh, that's brilliant.
So, as Bile leaves, Cole broadcasts a message to the rest of the fleet saying, yeah, let him go. Bastards. Meanwhile, on the orbital platform, Chaos Space Marines are driven off. Frederick ends up reverse hacking the Tech Priestess. She ends up getting shot by Castellan robots who finally turn up and do their fucking job.
Long way around.
Long way around, yeah. And at the end, like, oh, by the way, we've reactivated this pyramid. Look how all these beautiful holograms, looking all this Dark Age tech. Yeah, and Cole's looking around and going like, oh, look at that speeder. Yeah, like, no one's ever seen that before. I've got one in the hangar bay.
For fuck's sake, Cole.
Yeah. But he still feels very guilty about what happened to Alpha Primus, as he should. Meanwhile, the tech priest, the Dark Mechanicum tech priest from earlier, who had got that Necron, deactivated Necron, they used that as a template to create a Chaos Android.
What the? Whoa, okay, cool. Chaos Androids, cool.
Chaos Androids are back, ladies and gentlemen.
What the hellfire?
Yeah. Meanwhile, Cole and Kvo end up talking. It's like, don't worry, we're still friends in the end after all this horrific shit I've had to put you through, blah, blah, blah. Fancy a game of chess? The end.
Wait, what? That's the end?
Pretty much.
Oh, bloody hell.
I'll say this, it was a cool novel that Bile just happened to be in. But overall, as far as Guy Haley's recent works are concerned, it's one of his better ones. I will say that.
Yeah, it sounds it. It's... The one thing that bothers me, and this is a minor criticism, it's not a have a go, because it sounds like it would be a really good read, because it sounds like it's quite funny, is what we accomplished in the space of that novel is Cole held a conference where nothing happened, and Bile got Alpha Primus's DNA.
I forgot to mention, and by the end of it, the other tech priest did turn around and say, like, yes, we will help you with your project to create these artificial pylons, except for Metallica. Metallica said, yeah, fuck that, we ain't doing that shit yet. We still think you're a heretic, piss off. So 2 of the Forge Worlds agreed to help Cole with his endeavour, and yeah, forgot to mention that, but yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, it just feels like Cole hasn't... We know what Cole's end goal is now, at least. So Cole has an end goal. Bile now hasn't... Well, we knew he had a goal, but we now know what his end goal is.
Yeah, to stop Abaddon nagging him. It's like, it's done yet? No, it's done yet? No, it's done yet? It's like, it'll be ready when it's fucking ready.
Which is the same as Gilliman nagging Cole of, where's my pylon project? It'll be done when it's done. When it'll be ready, I'll tell you when it's done. It's the same thing, pretty much. They just both want their leader off their backs. But Cole's...
There are parallels, yeah.
There are several parallels. But Bile's working on a side project, which is to do with, obviously, genetics, because he wants to... Obviously, he needs to make these Space Marines to shut Abaddon up, but he wants to improve humanity as a whole, and we get that further confirmation he doesn't serve chaos, which is always nice to have reminded that Fabius Bile is an anti-hero on all sides. Whereas Cole seems to be running... Like, he's got his pylon project, and then in parallel, he's running an AI project, because he's got this AI of Gilliman and Frederick and all this. It's like, they're both doing, like, major things that will shape the fabric of the galaxy, and then a pet project that will help them make humanity better in different ways. Cole through technology and AI, and Bile through genetics. This is lots of parallels.
Absolutely.
But no, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I've been really looking forward to hearing about that book, so I'm glad I didn't miss it.
Good, you'd be kicking yourself if you did, wouldn't you?
Yep. Right, what time are we? Oh god, we've been going for over an hour and a half. King of the Spoil or questions?
I think we should go for questions if we've got some.
Yeah, we do. I think you asked for a lot of questions and you got inundated by one particular person with questions. So let's have a look. So, one for yourself. Last time I asked where each of you would like the new Warhammer quest to be set, but Remley's was not present when it was asked. So I would like to ask Remley specifically where he would want Warhammer quest to explore.
Well, we've done a whole bunch of AOS ones, and we've done one 40k one, which is Blackstone Fortress.
We've only done 2 in AOS. Silver Tower and Curse City. Sorry, 2.
And you did have the Warhammer Fantasy one as well originally as well. So
true.
So I wouldn't mind seeing another 40k related one. Question is where you would go. That's the issue. Because when you're saying as outlandish as a Blackstone Fortress, anything else would be pretty fucking mundane, wouldn't it? Unless you do something like Within the Eye of Terror.
Yeah, I
like
think
a Demon World or a Chrome World. A Chrome World could work, actually.
Yeah, Chrome World would be a really interesting place to take it. Because, like, obviously, Blackstone Fortress, you were dealing with chaos, but a Demon World is a bit too unstable in terms of what it is.
Or Ruins of Cadia.
That would be interesting.
That would be interesting.
But obviously you've had the novel Ashes of Cadia's gone back to Cadia, so we already kind of know a bit what Cadia's ruins are like.
Yeah, I think a Chrome World could work very well.
I think that's a good shout. Right. Okay, so one person asked about 10 questions, so I'm going to do them last. If Iniad were to, quote-unquote, take out Slaanesh, will that make the other Chaos Gods more powerful?
Initially, no, because a warp entity generally only gains power from what it consumes. And if the other Chaos Gods didn't have a hand in consuming Slaanesh, they wouldn't become more powerful from the get-go.
But this assumes that Iniad absorbs Slaanesh. If Slaanesh is destroyed, the argument of this commenter is there will be more warp energy around to play with, because even if Iniad absorbs a chunk, would that not leave...
The thing is, though, is that with Slaanesh, out of all the Chaos Gods, they probably could be argued as being the most parasitic, because as a god of excess, doing excess in anything will empower them. So excess bloodshed will not only empower Khorne, but also Slaanesh as well.
And so on, yes.
Yeah. Excess scheming, excess disease, basically everything that powers the other three Chaos Gods also empowers Slaanesh at the same time. So you could argue there would be more because Slaanesh isn't sharing some of it, but at the same time, Slaanesh is also a god of things like, pride and pain and pleasure, and which the other gods do not embody. So it's kind of like a catch-22 in a way.
Sorry. Yeah, and the other thing is, is Iniad a Chaos God? No, but as a warp entity, can Iniad consume Slaanesh? Let's say for a second Iniad can kill Slaanesh. That's a huge if, but, or maybe. Anyway, that's a huge maybe of whether Iniad can even do anything to Slaanesh. The Ynnari clearly think it can. But if Slaanesh goes down, Iniad would just take its place, logically, as a Chaos God of sorts, especially if it absorbed that power. And if it didn't, and it's just remained as a warp entity, Eldari God of the Dead, then it starts fulfilling the Nagash role, which is a terrifying concept, but Iniad basically becomes Nagash. This is where the souls of the dead, who are, not siphoned off by the other three, will go to Iniad as the God of the Dead.
I wouldn't say that Iniad would take Slaanesh's place, considering that Slaanesh already ate a whole bunch of other gods and hasn't really taken their place. You can't exactly call, Slaanesh the god of the hunt, or the god of fate, can you?
No, Tzeentch has fate.
Or the god of the forge. That's not exactly Slaanesh's domain, is it?
No, it's Khorne's, but...
No. But Slaanesh ate Volge, Slaanesh ate Kurnos, Slaanesh
but they're not. But they're not warp entities in the same way.
Well, they were gods, and they were technically warp entities, the same way. Because Cain is technically a warp entity that was shattered into shards that were spread into the material universe.
But are they aspects of the warp, or are they aspects of the webway? I know I'm getting into real semantics here, but the Eldari gods, were they warp entities or were they webway entities?
Yes, it's actually shown in Liber Chaotica, in that the Eldar gods, and by extension the Elven gods back in the day, because Liber Chaotica basically consolidates the two as the same. Yeah. So basically, the Eldari gods, during the War in Heaven, they were originally warp-born weapons that gained sentience.
Okay.
Basically, the Eldari gods were nukes. They were living nukes. They were living nukes that became self-aware, which is a terrifying thought in of itself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but what I mean by take Slaanesh's place, I don't mean literally Iniad becomes Slaanesh. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, in the pantheon of warp entities, you've got Khorne, Tzeentch, Nurgle, Emperor, Iniad. And I know the Emperor's still debated, but, Starchild theory was confirmed in Dawn of Fire, so I'm quite happy to sit there and go, Starchild is at least a conceptual thing that the Emperor is a Chaos God.
Gork and Mork.
Yeah, Gork and Mork as well. It's one of them. I'm not saying that Iniad becomes Slaanesh. I'm saying that in the role of the pantheons within the warp, Iniad fills the space and the power vacuum that Slaanesh had. The other gods...
Iniad would fill the power vacuum, yeah.
Yeah, and the other gods may nick a bit here and have a bit there and take some extra bits along the way, but Iniad fills the void that Slaanesh left as Slanesh filled the void when it ate the Eldari gods. Same difference. So what I guess I'm saying is that whole there's more energy going around for the other Chaos gods. No, because even if Iliad doesn't consume Slanesh, it will pick up Slanesh's power and position because literally it killed Slanesh. Slanesh is right there. If Slanesh does a big warp explosion, a metaphorical one, then Iliad is going to be drinking in that power because of course it would. What else would it do to make sure Slanesh can't come back again?
And then the Great Horn Rat turns up. Hey guys.
Do one.
Hey, right. It happened once already. Why not again?
I know. It happened in AOS and they told it to fuck off. They literally told the Great Horned Rat to fuck off.
It's like, hi, I'm the god of disease and scheming. It's like, hey, that's our job.
Yeah.
Stealing from Nurgle and Tzeentch. It's basically, the Great Horned Rat is basically what happens if Tzeentch and Nurgle had a baby.
Right.
Prove me wrong.
I'm just not. Right. Speaking of souls and gods, etc. For example, what happened to Konrad Kurz's soul? So the question is asking, what happens to souls that are not specifically siphoned off by Chaos or the Emperor? And they use the example of Konrad Kurz. Because Konrad Kurz didn't fall to Chaos. And I know you want to, I just want to finish the question so you've got the full context. Konrad Kurz never fell to Chaos. Ever. Not really. Nor was he loyal to the Emperor. So did the Chaos Gods take his soul and just consume it? Did they keep it? Which one of them kept it? Did the Emperor safeguard it even though he was a traitor? What happened to Konrad Kurz's soul?
Konrad Kurz's soul is currently stuck within an Eldari soul stone within the Corona Nox.
Fair point.
For more information, check out the novel Lord of the Night.
Okay, but in a more wider sense, forget Konrad Kurz a second, if a soul is not earmarked as this one's mine, this one's mine, this one's yours, where's it go? Because my brain goes Furies and just was stranded in the wasteland of the warp to be picked on by Furies.
Basically, it goes to whatever demon finds it first and goes nom nom nom.
Yeah, it just sort of floats around waiting to be nommed.
Yeah. Basically, right, have you ever played Soul Reaver?
No.
Right, in the Spectral Realm, there's souls that just float around and they'll get eaten by things such as wraiths or Sluath and all that kind of thing. It's just like that. They just float around and then get munched.
So it's like Pac-Man?
Kinda, but not so two-dimensional.
Yeah, I know.
Besides, we all know the nids of Pac-Man. They just come to the galaxy and go, waka, 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 waka.
Okay. So, since we were talking about call and pylons and stuff earlier, do Blackstone and other psychic cancelling devices also impact negative psychic effects? So, for example, the Culexus Assassin's Animus Speculum, which works with, anti-psychic power.
As far as I'm aware, no.
Yeah, because it's a warp inhibitor. If you're using negative energy, negative warp power, it's not the warp. You're actively using a black hole through the warp, so why would the warp inhibitor stop it?
There's also the fact where as far as things like blanks and that concerned, it's like a passive effect. It's not an active ability as well. So it's a bit harder to cancel. It's hard to put into words, but
if you've got
null
a
energy
Culexus...
works on different rules than it does warp energy.
Yeah, because there's two different scenarios here, because you can't have one affect the other without the other affecting the other. So if you put a Culexus Assassin next to a warp-tuned lump of Blackstone, logically that Blackstone doesn't work, because the Culexus's presence, the blank's presence, is nullifying it and creating an aura of negative energy, right?
The only exception I can think of is if you have say you have an entire pyramid of Blackstone attuned to be a psychic amplifier next to a single Culexus Assassin. I think with that sheer amount of Blackstone, it could override.
Yes, but if we take, for example, I don't know, a Culexus Assassin who has got let's just say a gun,
Blackstone
a rifle, an amulet, yeah. If it's warp attuned, it will do nothing because of the blank presence around it, right?
Correct.
But if that implies that Blackstone and blanks interact, meaning that if you flip the Blackstone to anti-warp mode, to
so it's like
nullification,
a blank amplifier, rather.
Yeah, as a blank amplifier, if the Culexus affects the Blackstone when it's in amplifier mode, then when the Blackstone is in nullifier mode, should it not affect the Culexus? Because otherwise you've got a one-sided relationship, and that doesn't make sense.
No. I mean, I suppose, like, if nullifying... Blackstone in nullifier mode would basically act as an amplifier for a blank. I would imagine.
But because is a Blackstone nullifier the same effect as blank?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
Oh god, this is complicated.
I don't think the two have actually ever interacted, to be honest.
Not that I'm aware of.
Like, we see Psychic interacting with Blackstone all the time, but I don't think we've actually seen a blank interacting with Blackstone.
No. Right, I'm going to pick one more. I've got two options. Yeah, we'll go with this one. Are there any examples, and I can already probably hear you screaming the answer before I even finish the question. Are there any examples of Xenos factions augmenting their soldiers like the Imperium does with Space Marines?
Well, genetic augmentation.
Well, that seems to be the idea, yeah. I mean, the homunculi exist, but they don't make Space Marines, because Space Marines are just a cumbersome genetic dead end.
No, but they do make things like, say, grotesques, racks, scourges.
Yeah, exactly. The Tau can't do it genetically, so they do it with battlesuits. Same difference.
Nids. They breed entirely new organisms for that purpose, so...
Yeah, they're not augmenting their soldiers, they just make something completely different from scratch. Like, the nearest thing you see to augmenting is almost like the Wraith constructs, where this Eldari was an Eldari, then their soul got put into a Wraith bone. And that's, like, the nearest thing they have to, like, augmentation, like the Imperium does. Whereas what they actually do, these Xenos factions, is they either use technology or they make something brand new from scratch to compensate.
Oh, I suppose you could argue the Kroot with their directed evolutions.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not...
Because there have been instances of Kroot being evolved to have things like wings or to make them big and bulky like orcs, that kind of thing, so...
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, it's not like the Imperium. I think we need to get this very clear. Augmentation does not necessarily mean genetic modification by an external third party to make a super soldier. No other faction does that. They have their own methods. The homunculi, who are directly referenced in this question, make something different by taking prisoners and transmorphing them in all kinds of horrific ways, which is the nearest analogue you're going to get. Then you've got the Kroot and the Tyranids.
As well as Scourges, though, because Scourges are basically just normal Drukhai, they just have, like, wings and talons added, so... Yeah,
absolutely. Either made into horrors or upgrades, depending on who you're talking to. But then you've got the Tyranids and the Kroot and the Orcs, who evolve specialists on the fly, pretty much, because Orcs' spores generate grots, orcs, snotlings, fungi, odd boys, based on the needs of the tribe through no understanding of the Orcs themselves. It just happens. The Kroot eat stuff, decide what's useful DNA, use it, evolve. The Tyranids, ditto, except they do it by dissolve it all into slop and make something new, whereas the Kroot eat it all and then modify on the fly. It's not that different. So yeah, there's ways and means by which they do it, and it is not the Space Marine method. But if you were to ask yourself, what is the Eldari analogue to Space Marines, you'd go grotesques, or racks, or scourges. If you were to ask what is the Necron equivalent, well, they make killbots. They don't need to augment their soldiers, they've made themselves into fucking killbots. Tyranids, Tyrant Guard, literally made from Space Marine DNA. Tau, they don't do augmentation, they make mech suits, because they don't have the tech to do genetic augmentation. They might, but they just don't use it. So they use mech suits. Orcs, random genetic mutation. Fluke. So yes, this person did comment about 12 questions, some of which were JoJo's Bizarre Adventure references, some of which were other references, and some which I've answered today, which I'm hoping are at least a starting point. But yes, if you do have any other further questions and things you would like to ask us based on what you've heard today, or just in general, please do let us know by leaving a comment down below with the word question somewhere in the comment, because it will make it easier for us to find, please. Thank you very much.
And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning in for this episode. We hope you enjoyed it. And until next time, this has been Remlades from 40k Theories.
And this has been me from Tactica Imperialis.
And we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.